Welcome to the Envelope's Emmy Contender Series. I'm Michael Ordonia for the Los Angeles Times. Today we're talking to Chris O'Dowd, who plays Miles Daly in the TV series Get Shorty. Howdy.
Howdy. How's tricks?
Hey! I say that to people, they never know what I mean.
Well, you know why people don't use it that often is that there's no great answer to it.
That didn't come from Ireland, did it?
I don't know. What we often say is, how's it hanging?
Oh, well, we say.
Again, no great answer.
Yeah, I say how's tricks to people and they think maybe I'm insulting them. Anyway, thanks for dropping by. I'm thrilled to talk to you about your show. I love it.
Thank you.
We had Annie Potts here a while ago, and she turned me on to the show.
Oh, she's great.
So score one for Annie. But before we get into the show, I want to get into your background a little bit.
Sure.
I understand you studied politics and sociology at the University of Dublin.
That's right.
So why did you move on from that, and has it affected your approach to your work in any way?
I mean, I still love politics and follow it a lot. And I feel like it wasn't something that I wanted to avoid, but rather something that I found while I was in college. I did a play for the first time, almost kind of by accident, and hadn't done anything like that before, and just found the whole experience intoxicating, and then just couldn't stop doing it. So I ended up just maybe doing 20 or 30 plays during college, and then went to drama school afterwards.
You went to a proper drama school?
Yeah, then I went to drama school in London right after, and was there for another 2 years or whatever.
Well, when you were there, did you see yourself as becoming a primarily comic actor, or was like a Mice and Men turn on Broadway more what you had in mind?
I thought I was going to be a classically trained Shakespearean actor. Never too late. So, because it was it was a drama school that really taught through very traditional methods. Mm-hmm. So we would do quite straight plays. And it wasn't for 2 or 3 years after I'd finished that I had been going for auditions, and the thing that seemed to be sticking was comedic in nature. So I don't know if I pursued that necessarily, but that's just kind of what happened. And then I fell in love with it, doing more and more comedies and working with funnier people, and still love doing it. But it is kind of nice scratching the itch of doing more straight up drama roles like The Mice and Men, or even this show to an extent. Mm-hmm. But finding a combination of doing both is the perfect scenario.
You should give Kenneth Branagh a call. Sure.
Yeah.
Are there any Shakespearean roles, for instance, that you've really wanted to play?
I mean, I'm obviously far too young for it, but I'm a big King Lear guy. But maybe Edgar until then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with.
It's funny, the Kenneth Branagh does this thing that you just reminded me of it. I auditioned for him once. I'll actually tell this very quick story. They were going to do this adaptation of the Potato Peel Society. I can't remember exactly what it was called. Guernsey something. It's a very popular book.
Okay.
And Kate Winslet was going to be in it as the female lead, and Kenneth Branagh was going to direct it. And they were looking at people to play the male lead, and so they had narrowed it down to myself and Damian Lewis and Dominic West. Mm-hmm. And we were going to go and audition with Kate in costume, do a proper, almost like 1950s kind of deal where we all went for it on the same day. And whenever I see Dominic West or Damian Lewis, we always bring it up because the day after we all tested for it, they decided to just not do the movie. Such was the quality of our individual auditions.
Your auditions were just so powerful. They said, we can't choose.
Let's not, you know what, let's not bother, they said collectively.
We'll just have to make the movie 3 times or not at all.
Yeah. But Kenneth Branagh does this thing which I think is incredibly sweet, where he sends everybody a handwritten note after they've auditioned, thanking them for their time. I always thought it was very classy.
It must be tough, and he works with Marvel. 1,000 people coming in.
I
know. So speaking of getting into certain roles, Get Shorty, obviously not what you're known for.
Sure.
Breaking people's legs, beating them up, that kind of thing.
No.
How in the world did they settle on you?
That's a good question. I'm not sure they've totally settled on me. I think the idea was initially Alan Coulter's, who directed it, and He's a terrific director who did, lots of genres of this ilk, I suppose. He did like a lot of Boardwalk Empire, and I guess knew what people needed to look tough. And I think he was taken by my sheer mass, by that I was a big guy, and I think he had seen a couple of things that he had liked. But I'm glad they did. Initially, like you say, I was a little surprised because it's not what people generally know me for. But at the time, I was looking to do something which didn't feel very familiar. So it struck the right chord. There is some comedic elements to it, but it is essentially kind of a straight drama, or if not a drama, like a thriller or whatever you would call it. And the opportunity to appear threatening isn't one I wanted to leave.
You've talked before about some of the physical changes for the role, like studying boxing, that
Right.
kind of thing. And you are a big guy. What are you, 6'3"?
Yeah.
So what are some of the specific physical things you look to bring to the role? You talked about standing up straight, for instance.
Yeah, standing up straight, right, posture. But also I used to get in fights a lot as a kid.
Oh, you did?
And you find that, like, getting hit is sore, but it's not that bad. Like, you find that, this is what I think taking boxing back up kind of reminded me of, is that if you can tell people have been hit before, if they're in a situation where that looks like a possibility, and how close they stand to the other person. And if you're not afraid to be hit, you don't mind being close to someone. And also, if you're close to them, you can't get hit that hard. And taking things like that into it, getting close to people without ever feeling like you're intimidated was a large part of it. Being still in those moments. Yeah, things like that.
Well, when did you feel like you were onto the right track in that regard? Did somebody respond to you in a certain way, or you look in the mirror and see it?
Yeah, you can feel it within the scenes. It's not that you go in with a game plan or whatever. It's how you feel. As trite as it sounds, you genuinely feel that this is happening in this moment. So I need to extricate this man of his money, and I'm going to do it by the means I feel necessary. And if that's going to be physical, then great. If it's going to be verbal, then that's fine too. But yeah, you can tell that working with Ray initially, I could tell that he felt uneasy around me when we were doing scenes, which is kind of what I wanted.
I've met him. He seems like such a sweet guy.
He's the loveliest man, yeah.
Ray
Making
Romano,
him feel
if anyone.
uncomfortable. Ray Romano, yeah. Making him feel uncomfortable is a real joy.
I wanted to say too, your physicality and beating people up gets talked about, but I'm struck by how expert Miles is at manipulation. He just slides into the next tactic that he needs.
Yeah, he's a grafter, I think, and he's grafted all his life. He ended up in trouble a lot in Ireland, had to leave there, and ended up somewhere else, ended up in Vegas, had to leave there. So he's become something of a desert rat in Nevada, and knows how. I think he's watched people. The matriarch of the show, Amara de Escalones, played beautifully by Lydia, is a master manipulator, and I think he's probably learned from her as the years have gone on, trying to work out what moves people expect and what moves they'll be unable to reject. And in a town like LA, where people aren't necessarily geared to be treated so brutally, naively, it really pays off. It can work for him. He's in many ways carbon copy fit of what a success could be in LA. He's without morals and he's, not easily intimidated.
Yeah, I want to ask specifically about some of those parallels, but you're right. There's a kind of running thing in the show where these LA folks have that come to Jesus moment where they realize, oh, this guy's going to hit me.
Yeah. Yes, and being touched is such an unusual thing anyway. Like if even we are such creatures of the mind now. There is so like actually just somebody touching your face or feeling like you're going to be hit feels so removed from what our lives are most of the time.
Most of the time.
That that it's very unnerving. And of course Miles uses that because first of all he doesn't know another way necessarily, and he's not unaware of the fact that people are not used to that.
For the uninitiated, if anyone watching this isn't already a fan of the show,
Yes.
should explain that the show's, I think, sort of incorrectly been called a reboot. It's not. It springs from the same source material as the film, but
Right.
it's just inspired by that plot of a.
Yeah, it's I've kind of previously described it as it's like visiting a bar at a different time of the week.
Yeah.
Like the book is a wonderful kind of source material, and the film, which I really enjoyed, is kind of like visiting the bar kind of on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock when everybody's dressed to the nines, they're ready for the night ahead, they've got all their best lines, and our show is like visiting the bar at 3 in the morning when a couple of bar stools have been knocked over, there's been a fight, there's blood on the counter, and your girlfriend hates you. But it's essentially the same bar. I don't know why all of my analogies have bars in them, but that's disappointing. But yes, the source material is strong. I feel like we're closer to the book than we are to the film. It's kind of dirtier. For people uninitiated with the general plot, it's about a crime organization who end up moving to Hollywood and laundering money through a movie. And I'm the kind of a gopher stroke debt collector who ends up being a producer on the film and intimidating people to do his will, I suppose.
So fitting in perfectly.
Yes.
I think now I really like the film, the Sonnenfeld
Yeah.
Travolta movie, but I think that the comparison of your show to the film is it's sort of illustrative of what people have discovered about television now, that it can be long form storytelling that's much deeper and richer. I think Miles is a much more explored person than Chili is in the film.
Yeah.
We see so many different dimensions of him, his relationship with his wife and his daughter, and the other people. I love Lou.
Yeah, there's some great characters, and of course, by necessity, they need greater backstories, and because there is so much material to get through. And yeah, Lewis is a great character who's my kind of buddy in the show, who's a Mormon who struggles to keep his faith while also being a horrible killer.
Yes.
So he won't have sex, but he'll happily murder.
Yeah.
Which is, difficult. And then I'm a family man who's trying to keep my family together and maintain a relationship with my daughter, who is Shorty.
Yeah.
And while also being something of a cruel manipulator, trying to guide us to safety and to a better life, while also having to do horrible things to achieve that.
Well, the fact that she's Shorty, I think, is also symbolic of the difference between your show and the film.
Yeah.
The film, it's Danny DeVito.
Right. We should point out that Danny DeVito plays my daughter.
Yes. And Danny DeVito is
What
short,
a
still
wonderful
short in this film.
performance,
Yeah.
though. You would never know.
Just like a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah, it's incredible. He's quite the performer.
Does have very soft hands.
He does. He does. Yes, no, I guess that's true. The fact that this is more of a show about... He's almost got a Willy Loman kind of a quality. This Miles character that I play is trying to create a future for his family. And Shorty is his daughter that he's trying to protect but also impress. and those are difficult things to do. I find that even in my own life, where it's like I want to do artistic things, but I also want to, make sure that my family are secure and not drag them around the world with me on jobs, but also try and inspire a good life for us all and all that kind of stuff. It's in many ways stuff that people can relate to on a smaller level.
The actress who plays her, your daughter.
Yes, she's wonderful.
great.
Yeah.
But I think that the casting for your show generally is just fantastic. Who's the the casting directors? They do an unbelievable job on it.
It's really well cast. It's
Charlene Lee and Rachel Tanner.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can just go down line. You and Ray Romano are known quantities.
Yeah, Lydia is terrific in it, and Goya Robles, who plays Iago, is a wonderful young actor and lovely to be around because he's, we play adversaries in the show, but he's still got that great kind of almost just coming out of drama school kind of vibe where it's very, he's got a touch of method to him. We don't really talk to each other much when we're doing scenes until afterwards. Then when we're great, but we try and keep it on the down low and keep the relationship, have the dynamics that will make it work and feel real and be strong and be dirty and just slightly tense. And Sean Bridgers, who plays my buddy in it, is just a gorgeous actor to be around and really funny. And yeah, so we're very lucky with our casting.
Very funny to think of him as being such a horrible person in Room.
Yeah, that's right. In real life, he's more like the character in Room.
Oh, God. You owe him a beer for saying that.
He's an absolute sweetheart.
It's great to hear that Goya is nice in person, because on the show you want to slap that guy around.
He's got some great clothes choices, but past that, but no, he's a very committed actor. It's lovely. It's kind of those kind of mornings when you've just come from doing a 16-hour day the day before, and you're like, oh God, what have we got? We've got another long thing, and there's no coasting. Like, I love being around people that don't let you coast for a moment, that keep you on your toes, and that's why it's kind of nice to change directors as well. We obviously, with each block you get a different kind of director every couple of episodes, and it keeps things sparking. It's nice.
I also wanted to mention, when we're talking about the cast, Billy Magnussen.
Yeah, he's so good in it, huh?
Yeah. Is he in Date Night?
He's in, I believe he's in almost everything right now.
Yeah, I love the arc for his character.
Yeah.
I was so worried that you were going to shoot him in the head.
No, well, maybe I do.
Maybe. Season 2.
He's a wonderful actor. He brings so much to it. He's got just this abundance of kind of energy.
And one of my favorites on the show is Sarah Stiles.
Oh, yeah.
Right away, you just love her. She's so pragmatic and hard.
Yeah, she's that kind of great kind of New York stage actress kind of vibe going on. She's such a lovely person, and yeah, lovely to be around. And Megan Stevenson is so funny in the show. She plays April, who's the kind of exec.
Yeah.
We have a bit of a tete-a-tete.
But that brings me down to what I really wanted to praise about the show, maybe over all of these things. Your showrunner, your writer's room, they do such a fantastic job of plotting for the season. You really feel like around episode 3 or around there in season 1, where it just starts, it grabs you and it takes off.
Yeah.
You feel like every episode you can't wait for the next episode.
It's a real page turner of a show. I mean, I think that's when it's at its strongest. It's a real narrative piece, which I think is, it does honor the writing, and I think that's one of his strengths as well. And Davey Holmes, who runs the show, is a terrific writer and showrunner. He did Shameless before this. And you're right, he's a great plotter.
Now, you've run a show before.
Yeah.
That was Moon Boy.
Yes.
Yeah. So, although you've said you enjoyed coming into this one as just an actor, do you have input into the backstory and the creation of Miles?
Yeah, into some of the Miles stuff a little. I guess when we were trying to come up with reasons that he ended up with such an obsession with movies that propel him into these very difficult situations, I gave him this. He wasn't written as Irish, and then I felt like we should kind of lean on that a little as time went on. And I remember reading about in Northern Ireland during the Troubles in the kind of 70s and 80s. There was a lot of places that became unsafe from, you know, bombings and shootings and whatnot, on the Catholic and the Protestant side. But in many places, cinemas were kind of granted something of a safe haven status by people on both sides. So we kind of transplanted Miles there to some of his family, so he would feel of cinema as a safe haven. And that kind of cultivated a love of film for him.
Yeah, that's a lovely, sad sequence in the show when he's there with his uncle, right?
Right.
Some fans have sent in some questions.
Oh, hello, Mum.
A fan on Twitter asks, who is the actor or actress who inspires you the most?
Sadly, it was Philip Seymour Hoffman was my guy. Kind of growing up, I was just such a huge Philip Seymour Hoffman fan, and John C. Reilly. Who else do I like? Kate Blanchett, I think, is always great. That's it. I don't like any of the others.
They all stink.
Yeah.
So you must be a Paul Thomas Anderson fan because you have them
big
both.
Paul Thomas Anderson fan, yeah.
'Cause
I was lucky. I got to work with him on a movie called Pirate Radio, which was like a 60s illegal record radio station kind of movie.
The Boat That Rocked.
The Boat That Rocked.
Yeah.
That's right. And he was a delight. Yeah, and I miss him being around.
He had some, Philip Seymour Hoffman had some great advice once about auditioning, that if you're a struggling actor and you're going to these auditions to seize upon them as an opportunity to practice your craft, even though it's only for two people.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Really acting for them.
Yeah. That's really smart. And he was the artistic director of a theatre company called Labyrinth, which was, when I was in drama school, that was kind of what I wanted. You know, I was a big Stephen Aldiguirgas fan, and all of those plays that they did around that time with John Ortiz and Ron Cephas Jones and lovely kind of stage actors. And I would kind of travel anywhere to see them. I must have seen 4 or 5 of their plays in 3 or 4 years. And it was definitely a big benchmark for, even if you never achieve it, what it is that you like and what you are aiming for in terms of naturalistic but interesting performances.
Another fan on Twitter asks, what was your experience like working with Kristen Wiig on Bridesmaids? You can slag the hell out of her.
That slag. Really great. I mean, she's just such a lovely person, and there was a funny film because I didn't realize that it was going to be such a big deal. Like, I thought the stuff that Kristen and I were doing was really nice, and it felt kind of tender and fun, but I didn't know what the other girls were doing. I didn't have any scene with kind of Melissa and Rose Byrne and all of these incredible women doing some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. And so it was quite a surprise when I went to the screening. I was like, oh, wow. I should have tried to be funnier. But it was such a joy, that movie, to be part of.
Yeah, that it was like came out of nowhere. It was
it was so funny.
Another fan asks, what is your favorite part of working on Get Shorty?
What's my favorite part of it? I mean, I love the people that I get to work with every day. And I love playing a character that I haven't played before, and trying to do. Everybody's seen kind of tough men on screen an awful lot. Trying to add layers to it and on a daily basis is hard, but it's the most interesting part of the job. So probably that.
Well, your tie to your daughter really comes across because, he's a tough guy, but when he thinks that she's found out about him. I guess when she finds the gun,
Oh yeah.
you can see he's got all this other stuff going on, but you can see that moves to the front of his mind.
Right.
So,
Yeah, Getting Shorty is certainly in the foremost of his thoughts.
okay, last question from a fan for now. If you weren't an actor, what career would you like to have?
Interesting. What would I do? I think I'd be an architect, so I could be in any rom-com from the 90s, where they were all architects.
Wouldn't like Hugh Grant play you?
That would be good. What else would I do? I don't know. Probably some kind of model. Probably a foot model.
There you go.
I've got great feet. I'm not ashamed to say that.
Well, you're 6'3", so you.
Yes, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, they'll use a large camera.
What would you do if you weren't a journalist?
Am I a journalist?
I don't know.
I think the things I would do probably shouldn't be discussed in public.
Oh, okay. That was weird.
So, what's really weird is now I'm gonna spring on you.
Okay.
Our lightning round.
Oh.
In which we ask you
All different kinds of lightning.
Yeah.
Bolt.
There's the stuff in the song.
Yeah.
Greased lightning. Now we ask you several questions.
Bolt, greased.
What else?
Sorry, go on.
Something in a bottle.
Yeah.
That we ask of everyone who sits in that chair.
Okay.
So, what was the last show you binge watched?
Oh, the one with the. I was watching it last night. What's it called? It's like it's a murder crime thing. What do they call it? Like the weird woman. Anybody?
The weird woman crime. I was going to say Get Shorty.
And like there's the pizza thing. So the guy wears a bomb around his neck.
What?
No. This is a doc. This is a documentary. 4-part.
Wild Country?
Oh,
No. Not Wild Wild Country, although I watched that too. What's it called?
you're making this up. Yeah.
Everybody who's watching this right now will be like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's what you call it.
He's got a bomb around his neck. And,
So there was this. This is all true. This is just documentary footage.
Okay.
So these people kidnapped this guy who was a pizza delivery man.
Okay.
Put a bomb around his neck and made him rob a bank. And it's the telling of that story.
Huh.
Friends. It was called Friends.
Yeah. Rachel and Ross.
These 6 people got this pizza delivery guy
The
to
dark
their apartment that was way too big for their budget
Right.
in New York and made him rob a bank.
That's the dark side of Friends.
What's it called though? No,
Come on, somebody look it up.
no.
All right, if you could go back and be on any TV show ever, what would it be?
Murder of Brian Wells.
Say that again?
Murder of Brian Wells?
It is the murder of Brian Wells, but that can't be the name of the show. It's called like Pizza Blow Up Head. That's not it. That's awful. It's awful. He dies.
Thanks for spoiling it.
He dies in the first
Spoiler
minute.
alert.
Also, it's a very famous news story.
Which we're only at a
not.
newspaper and we've never heard.
What
Anyway,
was the other thing?
a TV show ever.
Oh.
Be on. What?
Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
You'd be,
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I've seen it.
I was going to say you'd be the Irish hired gun.
Yes. What would have been good? I think I'd have been a good Kramer. Or any of the Golden Girls.
Hold that thought. I thought for sure you can go right back to Friends on that one. A lot of people watch TV to unwind.
Yes.
What do you do to unwind?
I watch TV, swim,
Swim.
yeah, throw my children around a bit,
Throw them in the pool. And
yeah, all that.
You're a good swimmer. You've been swimming a long time.
I can swim a long time, yeah. Like how long are we talking?
I don't know. I go from one end of the pool to the other, and I'm winded. So
Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh, I'm so unfit. But yeah, I love swimming. There's my like picking fruit. Just getting out there and picking some fruit.
uh,
topiary, a glass blow.
Yeah, I picture you with a whole like kiln and
Got a lot of stuff. Got a lot of stuff. for the
pottery
glass blower,
wheel
yeah.
and
Sorry, make my own sand.
you heat it yourself.
That's right.
Okay, finally,
Yes.
the last of the lightning. What do you know now that you wish you knew on your first acting job?
You should change your performance slightly depending on where the camera is.
That's actually useful advice.
You know, the performance can get bigger and smaller incrementally depending on where the camera position is. So that would probably just be go under slightly useful.
Well, it's funny when you hear stories of actors when they were starting out and they work with some veteran actor. They said he wasn't doing anything in the
Yeah.
scene and then it looked brilliant on camera.
I think I still have to learn that. I could see people doing that sometimes where I'm like, why am I being so big? But maybe I'll get there someday.
I think you're on your way to a successful career. All right. Thank you so much for coming
Pleasure.
by. I got to tell you, I love your show.
Oh,
It's
thank you very
great.
much, Mike.
I'm really looking forward to season 2.
It's very kind.
If you would like to see more of these chats, they are on latimes.com.